What's up, YouTube world? This is Jay, and welcome to another episode of The Sesh. On today's episode, I'm going to talk a little bit about evolution and how fucking crazy it is. How this came about? Well, I was talking to one of my buddies the other day, and he showed me a video of this. Or rewind, I apologize. He was growing tomatoes, and there was one of those big green caterpillars. I forget what they're called now, but they're the big green ones, fat motherfuckers, They, love tomatoes. And they, turn into a crazy looking moth, So he was like, yeah, there's this caterpillar, and all of a sudden I noticed these cocoons on it, and it turns out it was like a wasp would sting this caterpillar and lay its eggs, and then the eggs would grow into these little cocoons on the caterpillar, and once they hatched, they fed off the caterpillar, and then once they hatched, the caterpillar died, and, more wasps were born. More wasps were born. And I was like, damn. And then, he was like, yeah, these caterpillars, they'll turn into this moth, and then, they'll fly around to 2,000 different sites in just like a few hour period at night and lay one egg on each site. And they could only lay an egg on like nightshade vegetables, like tomatoes and eggplant and that type of shit. He's like, so how crazy is that? And I was like, yo, that's evolution at work for thousands of years. It got that process down to a science. At first, it probably just laid 1,000 eggs on one plant, not even caring. It was just like, just lay these eggs, whatever. And then, or even just one egg on one plant, and then it would die, so then it laid two. Then they would die, and then it laid 3, and then it would die, and then 10, and they would die, and maybe 1 would live, and then they're like, okay, so if 1 lived out of 10, if I lay 100, 10 will live, and then if I lay 1,000, 100 will live, if I lay 2,000, 200 will live, and then it just figured out the best plants, you know what I mean? And then if you only lay 1 egg here and 1 egg over there, then you spread your seed everywhere like you're some kind of horny pimp, you know what I mean? You're some kind of man whore just laying your seeds everywhere. You know what I mean? It increases the chance of survival by a lot. Because even if a wasp gets 1 of those eggs, there's 1,999 other ones in 1,999 other sites. You know what I mean? So, and then just think about how crazy that is. That this fucking insect, you know what I mean, is that smart to know all that shit. You know what I mean? And then, just think, even as far as, humans go. We used to be, apes and primates, and now look at us. You know what I mean? We go bald because we don't even need hair like we used to. You know what I mean? We wear shirts, so, we don't even need to have all this hair. We manscape and womanscape now. You know what I mean? So eventually I think we're just going to be pretty hairless. Not completely hairless, but we're not going to have as much hair as we did now compared to 1,000 years ago, and in 1,000 years from now we're going to have even less hair. That's what I think. And polar bears, their paws are specifically made to punch through ice. That is what they're made for. They're made to punch through ice and grab fish. An aardvark's nose or tongue, is long enough and slim enough to get into the tiniest holes to get the termites and ants and shit. Evolution. I bet you an aardvark's tongue used to be this big and this fat, and it just didn't work, and they were all dying. So evolution was like, no, we gotta slim it down and we gotta make it longer so we can get into that shit. You know what I mean? How crazy? How crazy? Just And it's like, you know, fish, when it gets cold, they know to go down deeper, you know, where the ice doesn't get to, and it's a little warmer down there than it is at the surface, you know, like just evolution, you know, or like, you know, dinosaurs, like chickens and birds, ostriches, peacocks, flamingos, they're all descendants of dinosaurs. Evolution. Evolution. You know what I mean? Alligators, sharks, they've all evolved to just be like as perfect as they can be for what they gotta do. You know, and in 1,000 years, they're going to be even more well-tweaked. 3,000 years, God forbid the planet's still here, they're going to be even more well-tweaked. You know, like, it's going to be like, oh shit, what happened? I don't know what happened there. I'm sorry, I switched. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Anyways, that's weird. That's a cool, nifty little feature on this thing, though. Whoa. Anyways, sorry. But yeah, you know what I mean? Evolution is just nuts. It's just nuts. You know, and I know there's people out there that don't believe in evolution. They believe in creationism and all that stuff. And that's fine, dude. If that's what you want to think, whatever, man. Whatever. Well, how come all the monkeys didn't turn into humans if humans came from monkeys? And it's like, well, because evolution knew when the fuck to stop. Because monkeys still serve a very important part in the food chain and ecosystem of the world. You know what I mean? So if you got rid of all the monkeys, you destroy the entire ecosystem and the entire food chain and stuff. It's crazy. You didn't learn that shit in school, folks? You know what I mean? Like, you never saw the food chain? Fish eats a little fish. Bigger fish eats that fish. Bigger fish eats that fish. Bigger fish eats that fish. Then this bear catches that fish. Then this thing eats the bear. Then this bird gets the bird. Then the vulture eats the dead bear. And then something eats the vulture. And bats eat the mosquitoes, something eats the bats, bees need this, blah, 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 blah. Like, it's all part of the food chain. So evolution knows when to stop. You know, it's like, yo, we can't get rid of all the monkeys. Like, we need these things. We need these. But we need to switch just enough to start a human population. You know what I mean? And, you know, I think we all came from a single-celled amoeba. Somewhere in a fucking lake somewhere. And then that shit just, like, grew a little bit, popped out of the water, got some air and some nitrogen, and just like, here we are today. Barely makes sense. I know. You know what I mean? But like, it makes more sense than just something just creating everything the way it was from day one. Like, that doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? That doesn't make sense either. You know, like, you know what I mean? I'm just saying. And then, like, I was thinking about it, and I was like, yo, like, think about when the dinosaurs went extinct, how many other things were able to thrive, and then how many other life forms came into existence. And, you know what I mean? And then, you know, and then it just kept going. And then some shit will die off, and then blah, 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 you know? And it's like everything's intertwined. It's fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy. But anyways, that's my spiel on evolution and how crazy it is. I just, you know, we were talking about it the other day, and I was like, this is fucking nuts. You know, like how they're so well tweaked and just like spot on, you know, and humans over here are arguing over face masks and election fraud and fucking pipelines and shit. Like, we're fucking morons. We're morons.